Hello, good people of the internet, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright. I probably should have saved off camera, but oh well.
Yeah. We came back right where we left off.
Yeah.
It's no big deal.
This is the defense lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? And where's Emma, for that matter? It almost seems as if... I don't know. Something's been happening behind the scenes? No.
Something's been happening behind the scenes.
Edgeworth.
Knowing you, you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 77777 ID number is, that is.
Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out.
You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding the ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything.
True. Not yet.
In any event, once all doubt has been removed from the list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, Wright, and Chief Prosecutor Skye will be found guilty.
But she didn't do it.
I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here, to hear what you have to say.
This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her.
The truth?
Everything goes back to the SL9 incident.
Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past.
And that depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened.
I'll think about it. See you in court, right?
This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gant has on her, it's now.
Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye.
The defense is ready, Your Honor.
The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make.
Chief Gant? Morning, folks! How's everyone doing? Hey, G, been to the pool yet?
No, I've been drowning enough as it is in my work.
Ho ho! That's a good one! Don't think I can top that!
If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say...
That's me.
Oh.
Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Are you okay? Why do you keep flipping your head?
Because I can. I'm just flipping my ponytail around because I feel like it.
Okay. Well, fine. I mean, weirdo. Having heard what she intends to say, I feel like she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble.
He's ordering her basically to say all this.
Yeah.
What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll... Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial.
Huh?
I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot of the prosecutor's office.
No, Lana!
I called it.
You can't! Your Honor, the defendant claim does not change the defense's plea.
In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services.
But Lana...
Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise.
This can't be happening.
It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. This court finds the defendant...
And... Oh.
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth? The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature.
Come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, hmm?
I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gans.
What?
Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes.
Some kind of deal, hmm? Not everyone operates it as you do, Worthy.
I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue... I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. The court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gans?
Worthy. You'll live to regret this. Mark my words.
Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand.
Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins.
Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma. Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark of the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Edgeworth, please remember this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then.
You sure gave in fast.
Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago.
The trip to yesteryear has finally begun.
Was that a 2 liter?
The one I've been drinking out of?
Unless you want me to open another one.
I mean, you can if you want. But
Just want some to sip on.
here, I don't mind either way.
Alright.
It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial.
I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest.
Thank you.
It's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor.
You've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence.
Very well, the defense may begin its cross-examination.
Would you mind putting the cap back on? I'm afraid to put it anywhere. Or take another step, that works too. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct?
Yes. She was second in command under the then Deputy Chief of Police Gans. My sister. She was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gans and Miss Skye used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day, too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that Llama promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work.
Man?
Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, right? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky in Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall is...
What was the prosecutor doing there?
That day, there were two people present during the Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Almost forgot about Gant.
Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead.
And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in.
I don't clearly remember what happened then, but...
Can you tell us about that?
Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. Oh, I thought you were... I thought you were jesting that you wanted it.
Oh, no. But, I mean, I'll put it between us so
Right.
we can just...
The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and lightning struck nearby.
So the electricity went out?
Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then, lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then.
The detective?
Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case.
Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago?
Yes. That's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time, the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture.
A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before.
Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough?
This picture with the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning.
But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor.
You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right?
Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died. Yet, I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken? But I did draw it, I swear! I'm not just imagining it.
This picture that Emma drew, that reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again.
Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man.
That must have been a real shock.
Even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us. What were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two began wrestling each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them.
Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Okay. Oh, damn it, that's not what I meant to... I meant to do the fucking court record. And that is on the evidence list.
Ah.
Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl putting all her heart into a drawing, that picture. And yet, you would insist denying its existence?
Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that, as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture.
That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold.
This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident?
Please turn it over, Your Honor.
Turn it over? Turn it... Ah! What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it! That's the picture I drew! Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list?
Me?
Only the prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists, they're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here, where they were torn apart from each other.
So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you.
What? What? Order! Order! But, Miss Guy, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor.
Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor.
Are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head.
If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing in the back of Edgeworth's list.
Yes, that's quite conceivable. Mr. Edgeworth? It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong?
Do you even have to ask?
Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. Is that thing? That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this is an act of vandalism. This act of vandalism is a work of a certain chief of detectives.
I guess he was out of scrap paper?
Very well. Witness, will you please testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago?
Before I do that... Okay.
Weird, but alright. Huh? Yes, sir, Your Honor.
What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at that picture.
This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind.
Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw.
Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination.
Did you draw this picture right after the incident?
I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During the time that the investigation team was reorganized, Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gann and Lana Skye.
2 or 3 days later. The memory should still have been fresh in her mind.
Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black?
So at the time, you didn't even know it was Marshall who had come to your rescue?
No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor.
You were knocked to the floor?
Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed.
Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt.
What happened after the lightning flashed?
You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place?
No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further?
What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here.
Anyway...
Sorry for asking so many questions, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw?
Of course, this is the exact scene.
It wasn't influenced anyway from your talks with the detectives?
Are you insinuating that we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright?
No, of course not. I'd better watch out or you might find some way to cut my salary.
I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture?
Huh? Oh, well...
The blue badger?
I mean, probably. That's strange. She claims this is the exact scene she was imprinted on her mind. And yet, there's clearly a contradiction here.
I guess it's not from... Is it from this picture somehow? The jar? I don't...
I'm gonna try the knife. That's not it. Okay. I was thinking maybe because, the knife is square. That wouldn't have anything to do with it, would it?
No, I think it's like a thin rectangle is confusing.
What if I... No.
You want to save now before you...
Yeah, I'll save. Damn, save scumming.
Yeah, but I mean...
I know. Let's try this. Okay.
So it's not the picture?
It's not the picture.
Okay. Is it the shield? Because it doesn't have the sword or halberd thingy with it?
But what does that have to do with the picture?
The fact that the...
Nope.
Then...
Nope.
And what was it you just showed?
The SL9 incident. Case files. Did I already show the jar?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, it's not it anyway.
Yeah.
Whoop.
Wow, that was...
Whoops.
And you already showed the SL9 knife, right?
Yes, that is the knife I showed. I didn't show this knife, but that's because it's irrelevant.
Yeah. The screwdriver?
Well, the screwdriver wasn't even part of SL9.
It's the only thing I can think of. Maybe that, like...
Okay, well, I don't know why that would have been it.
I mean, maybe you stabbed it with a screwdriver? What, it was wiped clean or something?
But it's not part of SL9. It's part of a different case entirely.
I don't know. I don't...
The autopsy report.
Oh.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction.
What? But I still remember it just like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture report contradicts the autopsy report?
Okay, I think that's where I point out the knife. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken.
Even I don't have to look closer to see that, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See, the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer.
I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma.
And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem?
It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should show... The murder weapon should not be broken yet.
Ah! What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand.
Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there.
That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken.
That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly.
But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency.
Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already about a little something called falsified evidence?
You're treading on thin ice, right?
All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility.
No. Ah! Order, order, order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted?
Your Honor, please allow me once again to go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King and Prosecutor's Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Grant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie.
I'm not lying. The man was really holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of there being two broken knives?
Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's. Could there have been one? Yeah. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't be explained by simple observational error.
Mr. Wright.
In that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife.
I assume then that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us.
The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. That's the only way. Take a look at this, the actual murder weapon.
The shield.
Should I show the picture? The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here, in this picture. This is the picture of the award ceremony.
This is the picture of the award ceremony. Ah! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon.
Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding.
That's a broken knife.
As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, The knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award.
Order! Order! Order!
Neil Marshall was awarded King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation.
But that can't be.
Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth?
Because if the King of Prosecutors award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed.
What do you mean?
I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall.
Oh. Oh!
But the prosecutor was the one who actually died.
That's true. What's going on here?
It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything.
And we'll find out whatever remembers in the next episode.
Are you fucking kidding me right now? Ah!
See you guys next time.
Bye.